The vtubing community is one that I find myself having mixed feelings on, because on one hand, there is so much good done by many content creators, but on the other, there are many horrible things that are left unchecked when it comes to this space. Que la que corillo? My name is Spiky, the Gigante VTuber, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing some of my experiences as a VTuber content creator and my thoughts on the VTuber community with you all. I apologize if I stumble on my words. English is not my first language.
Excuse my English because it's not very looking. Not very good looking.
So bear with me. And if not,
cáguense en su madre, puñeta.
Now onto the video. I loved watching many different YouTubers' content and always wanted to try doing what they did. I made this channel as a way to sort of document how I progressed as an editor, with every video trying something new. I was inspired and still am by creators I grew up with, like Sir Dimitri is.
I'm gonna try to go up to this like tippy top right here. Oh shit. Oh, I see another.
The Jazz.
We pull up, bribe this guard, only to get double-crossed and chased by evil mega corporation number 1, Amazon.
MP Edits. And the most impactful one, Mr. Fruit.
I can't see you out there, but are you on your feet? History is going to be made today. I claim my rightful fruit.
Because after watching a certain video where he was reading letters he got from fans, I realized something.
I hope you get a chance to read this. I want you to know the laughs you provided me gave me the strength to go on when all else seemed lost. The content you have shared has given me hundreds of hours of smiles and good, relaxing fun. I don't mind if you wish to discuss this letter and the effect you have had on me. I simply ask that you retract my name and keep me anonymous. Mr. Fruit, you don't even know me, and yet you saved my life. I'll never be able to thank you enough.
I want to be able to do that for someone, to be that creator that they can use to escape their daily struggles, even for just a brief moment. Back in late 2019, I didn't know what a VTuber was. I was just a freshman college student going through the motions, working on getting my bachelor's degree, hoping to be able to find something new I could enjoy so I could make videos out of it. Then one day, while I was scrolling through YouTube, a certain video of this pink-haired anime girl singing showed up on my feed.
Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete?
And I was like, huh, this is a pretty cool mix. I like anime, I like YouTubers, so this is pretty cool. That pink-haired demon was Iron Mouse. I started watching her content and fell into the VTuber rabbit hole, slowly getting to know the community around VTubers, getting to know the difference between corporate versus indie VTubers, learning different terms used in the community, and overall just integrating into the culture and enjoying content made by VTubers. Watching them also inspired me and a lot of other people to try VTubing.
I think there was a point in my community college career, right? Like I was going to community college, I was going for graphic design, well, motion design, but same thing, tomato. And I think there was at one point where I don't know, I didn't really feel motivated. There was at one point where I just really didn't feel like I had a purpose. And I was just kind of doing my own thing, you know, going to college, realizing, what am I even doing here? What am I doing with my life? You know? And eventually this was, I'm not gonna say this is when they came out. I think it was sometime after they came out. Hololive Myth, when I want to say almost a year into their careers. I remember the most notable thing was when Callie dropped, what was the song called? End of a Life? Like that just dropped. I remember listening to it and like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really a big fan of Callie music, but like that one, it hit me. Like it hit me really hard. Just hearing about like, you know, making a big trade in life to like get what you want. I don't know, that really resonated with me. I was like, damn, I should really do something with my life, you know? And this reminded me of like back in high school, I used to try to do, right? Like very bad commentaries and whatnot. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe I should try commentary or like just YouTube again and, you know, streaming, except with like a VTuber model.
So the way I found out about VTubers, it was when I was in Japan, actually. I was like in a really kind of like tough spot with the whole homesickness. And around that time, VTubing had just kind of like just started in Japan. You know, I learned about like, you know, Kizuna Eye, and then, you know, that was around the time that Hollow was like really just kind of popping off. But I really didn't get into VTubing until like soon. I'd say about like a little bit after the pandemic. Because, you know, like I started watching like Merryweather and stuff because he's like, you know, my Oshi and shit. And Then after that, I got really invested. And I was like, man, I really want to do this. What really made me decide that I wanted to become a VTuber was really just like the whole being anonymous part of being a VTuber. Because, you know, I like to do my art, I like to do my thing, but even now I work a job where I can't really like show my face. Because, you know, it's like, you know, especially with like the type of job that I have and it involves other people, I can't really be like the most wild version of myself on the internet. So the whole being anonymous part is the best part of being a VTuber. So that's literally like the main thing that got me in. The second thing was just the people that I was watching. They like inspired me to do it.
I think the 28th of like December 2020, I think, was when I first ever started the stream. It was mostly as myself, and I had made like a PNG tuber at the time. I made a PNG tuber made out of like pick crew, like something that I thought would kind of be like me but not look like me at all, so I wouldn't even dox myself. That was basically when I wanted to start, but I didn't have the full, I would say, determination to go through 100% focusing on it or doing it part-time. I just wanted to start off like see if I have the balls, even if I have the balls to start streaming at all with like some kind of representation of who I was.
I first found out about VTubing back in the end, I want to say like tail end of 2020, when HoloLive was kind of taking over the internet. I had some close friends that were like really into watching like Picora and like some of the other HoloLive VTubers, so they kind of like turned me onto it. And then from there, I started realizing that there was an indie scene, like Iron Mouse was, I think, just starting to gain some traction, and that kind of led me down the road of seeing, oh, this is something that I could potentially do. Like I don't have to be part of like a HoloLive like agency. This is something that people do indie streaming as well. And streaming is something that I had like dabbled in the past. Like I used to stream back in college in like 2015-ish. But I don't know. It wasn't very serious at the time, and I had been thinking about doing something serious with streaming or gaming or whatever, and VTubing just kind of seemed like a natural niche I would fall into, especially since I'm an anime fan. And during 2020 and 2021, we were all inside, and it felt good to be able to stream in my pajamas and not have to like get all dressed up and everything to go on stream. So
my first experience with VTubers was actually through HoloLive. I think it was the summer of 2022. It was Minato Aqua. She was playing Apex, and that's actually how I got into the game myself. I watched her streams. I thought they were super entertaining, and I started playing Apex myself. I got really into it. Then I heard that HoloLive was announcing an EN branch, and I fell down the rabbit hole after that. I saw the EN debuts, and I thought, hey, if they can do this in English and it's accessible here in the West, I could do it too. So I did some research. I found someone who could do a model for cheap, just because I didn't know if I was even going to like streaming at the time. I got a model that was well within budget. I started streaming and I fell in love with it.
I want to say, similar to a lot of the people that are like Western but influenced by HoloLive, that's 100% me. The first VTubers that I had experience watching was Pecora and Miko, playing her GTA playthroughs. Had a lot of those memes, a ton of those memes, hooked entirely by both of them. So great. And then it just so happened that HoloLive EN debuted, and from there, like, just kind of got more and more just caught by the VTubing community.
Just went down the rabbit hole.
Just down the rabbit hole, exactly, 100%. Led down the rabbit hole by the rabbit herself, Pecora. And then I met Iron Mouse via Twitch just prior to her joining VShojo, and that was it. That was it for me. I was hooked on everything that she was doing, and I still am to like this moment in time. And that's kind of how it got started. Like, I wanted to just try something new, have a new hobby, and yeah, it worked out pretty well, I think. I found something I really liked doing, really enjoyed doing, met a lot of cool people, all because I just wanted to be an anime girl on the internet, which is ideally so weeb of me to say, but yeah.
And for the most part, I've had an amazing time. I've met some of the coolest, funny, and real people in this community that I'm very lucky to consider friends. I've had a blast making content with my friends and making people laugh, and I've even gotten the opportunity to do some real good too. However, like in any other community, it has its problems. It seems like every week there's a Twitter thread or a Google Doc made outing an issue between VTubers into the public. Now, this is fine if it's exposing someone that has been doing some weird shit, especially when this involves minors. There are definitely some disgusting people in the scene who think that just because they hide behind a model or a PNG, they can get away with anything. Now, this is not me saying that this is how everyone in this space acts. It just happens to be a very vocal group. But it feels like most of the time it's just a bunch of nothing issues that could have been resolved in private. But because drama brings interactions, it's become a standard somewhat for people to air out their dirty laundry to gain numbers. There's been many instances where the same people that I mentioned before have done some weird shit, and sometimes the community is very quick to forgive someone for doing something scummy depending on how popular they are, which to me is dumb, because if you truly enjoy someone as a content creator, wouldn't you want them to be the best version of themselves that they can be and hold them accountable for their actions instead of just blindly defending them and allowing that horrible behavior to continue?
I think that's one of the aspects I'm not too fond of with the VTuber community, is like how fake some people are. You know, trying to be people pleasers, trying to, you know, act a certain way when you don't really need to do that, you know? Like, just be genuine and eventually you'll actually make really good, you know? So that's why I say it's very hit or miss. Like, there's a lot of aspects of the VTuber community that, like, I enjoy. I love seeing different models. I love seeing, you know, people being different, having a gimmick. And lately, a lot of people have been doing that, and I love that. But I'm not a fan of how some people abuse VTubing as a way to, like, get away with stuff and do horrendous things that they wouldn't normally do if they weren't, you know, being a VTuber, if that makes sense.
So, I find the VTuber community to be very volatile and unpredictable in terms of how the community reacts. Some things that I thought were common sense to be bad, you actually get canceled for thinking it's bad. And some stuff I thought common sense were good, you know, calling out bad things could sometimes get you canceled. So it's, like I said, when I'm not keeping to myself in the VTuber community, I don't find myself enjoying it too much. I try to keep as much VTuber content off my For You page, my feed on Twitter as much as possible, because all it is every time is some drama I'm really not interested in.
We all know how many cancellations we've seen. Some of them warranted, right? But as time went on, the validity of some of these cancellations, like you'd get like a 6-page document of someone being maybe a little mean, you know? And that was suddenly grounds for getting rid of them out of the community. When you take the anonymousness of the internet and then you add on to that of like, well, I can be anonymous, but I can also build this persona for myself that's like this idealized version of myself that I can build like an almost egotistical attitude around. You're gonna get a lot of narcissists. And that's kind of what VTubing feels like sometimes, is that you're just surrounded by people who are high off their own farts.
There are so many amazing artists in this space who make wonderful models and assets for VTubers. And as someone who has made a VTuber model before, I can tell how much work and effort goes into making art that'll be used for rigging. However, it seems like if you hope to get art made for a character that has even the slightest amount of melanin on them, you'll have a hard time finding the perfect artist. When I got my first VTuber model, the artist I went to ended up making my character a couple of shades lighter than the reference I gave. This is something that I've seen happen to a lot of people, and it sucks that sometimes artists won't even consider bringing your character to life just because they can't draw with the color brown. I understand if you're not confident in your ability to portray a melanated character as well, but wouldn't it be better to try and learn how to draw them so that when you receive these types of requests, you'll have more income opportunities now that you'll have a wider range of skill? Racism, unfortunately, is an issue that plagues many communities, and the VTubing space is no exception. I've seen people get harassed just because the color of their model doesn't fit with the same quote-unquote standards as some mainstream VTubers. For a space that, from the outside looking in, seems very welcoming and understanding, there's a big problem when it comes to discrimination towards creators with a darker skin tone.
I'm pretty sure I've had people come into stream asking me about, you know, classic watermelon fried chicken and so on and so forth kind of stuff. But the most negative experience I ever had in the VTuber community in relation to racism was there was some racism in the community. A bigger content creator commented on it. I tacked on and said, yeah, I've noticed this myself, how we're excluded from events. We're never, voted on in any kind of rewards. We're never given the same kind of opportunities as other creators. And this is what I've learned talking to other creators of darker skin color or of different skin color or other creators. And the response from the community towards my comment was outstanding. I've got thousands of messages saying, I don't belong in the community. Maybe you aren't accepted because you don't belong here, so on and so forth, just because of the color of my skin. I'm pretty sure someone called me a coal man inside of all of that, which at least I was creative. And that's the kind of stuff that happens all the time. You get DMs all the time about regarding the color of my skin. Why, even if I am black IRL, why am I presenting as a black anime character? I should have just picked a white one, so on and so forth, so on and so forth.
No, this community is crazy when it comes to the racial part. Okay, I would say that one of the things is like, if you're like, okay, when you have like an openly like melanated model, the problem is that you got people who are not afraid to basically be like, oh, well, you don't look good in this color, or oh, like the overtly open racism is wild. I've had people come into my chat and call me a monkey, and I was like, oh, I even got called a monkey recently. That was the wildest thing. I got called a monkey by another VTuber.
Needless to say, I don't think anybody should be judged or persecuted because of the color of their skin. We all hit randomize on the character creation screen when we came into this world, so there's no reason to put someone else down when in the end, we're all people. But hey, it's not all bad.
I've never been wronged, I would say, in the VTuber community. So far, I'm very lucky in that way, I would say. But like the community itself, the people that come in to watch your stream, at least that come to watch me, or the people that I watch and their communities as well. Like I want to follow and interact with the people that treat me the way I want to be treated and treat others the way they want to be treated, with respect.
My personal experience with the VTuber community has always been a positive one. I mean, I know it doesn't have a good reputation, to a certain extent, but, you can say that for many communities as well. But for me personally, I've only had positive experiences. I've made so many new friends. I've met so many cool people that do work in this community, make applications, do coding, and write stories, sing songs. Like, there's so many different people in this community that you can really connect with. That's what my experience has been like in the VTuber community. I've made myself a second family within the VTuber community, and there are a lot of people that I know today that I don't feel like my life would be the same if I had never met them. I'm really thankful, and just it's always been a positive experience for me, and I only look forward to more of that.
There's been many instances where the community comes together to help a good cause, such as when Iron Mouse and Connor over the years have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in awareness for the Immune Deficiency Foundation, helping the foundation improve the diagnosis, treatment, and quality of life for every person affected by primary immunodeficiency. Dokibird, as a result of her struggling with issues due to the ordeal she went through with a certain VTuber company, helped raise over $250,000 for the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation, a charity committed to alleviating the suffering caused by mental illnesses. And people like me and my friends, who for the past 2 years have helped raise over $500,000 for the VTuber SummerSlam, an annual event by Gamers Outreach where VTubers work together for 5 days to raise as much money as we can to help get video games into hospitals around the world. So what's my opinion on the VTubing space and what are my plans for the future? I think this space certainly needs to grow and change for it to actually be more of a safe community for creators and viewers alike. But for me, I'm gonna keep making content, sticking to my little group of friends and continuing to try and entertain people to hopefully brighten up their days. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you made it this far, let me know in the comments what your guys' experience with the VTubing space as a viewer or as a fellow creator has been like. If you want to watch more of me, then consider going over to my Twitch. I'm way more active there. But that's it for me. See ya!